I'm out here on one of the walkways at the Multimedia University in Nairobi. And next to me is Dr. Gladys Nyachieo. She's a senior lecturer and head of department at the sociology department here at the university. And Dr. Nyachieo is also a researcher in matters concerning transport. Dr. Nyachieo, tell me a bit about your journey to become a social scientist.
Oh, thank you very much, Michael. My journey to become a social scientist started when I joined my undergraduate at Egerton University in Nakuru. I actually never knew about social science, but when I got there, I enrolled in sociology as a course and under BA. And my love for sociology grew to the point that by the time I was in third year, I was just ready to do sociology alone. So I have passion in sociology. I like to know about the society. I like to know about people. There are many social problems that are understood well under sociology.
Welcome back to Africa Science Focus, the science and development show from SciDevNet. I'm Ogechi Ekeanyao. You were just listening to our reporter, Michael Kaloki, who was speaking with Dr. Gladys Nyachieo, a researcher in social sciences who has dedicated her career to transforming the safety of pedestrians. Her passion is researching the sociology of transport, and she ardently advocates for Kenyans to embrace walking and other non-motorized modes of transportation. Dr. Nyachieo's efforts to change attitude towards walking have yielded tangible results, particularly in Nakuru, a vibrant city nestled 160 kilometers northwest of Nairobi, Kenya's bustling capital. To make this happen, she works to change attitudes towards walking and improve infrastructure, including getting pavements fixed. Michael has been out on the streets of Nakuru to witness firsthand the impact of these efforts on the lives of its inhabitants.
Hope, are you a resident here in Nakuru?
Yes, I am a resident in Nakuru.
Do you find it easier to walk nowadays here in the city?
Yeah, I've been walking for about the past, I would say 6 months, like seriously. And I found that it's been an improving practice. I've noticed that they've done new walkways and zebra crossings along the Kenyatta Avenue,
Which is the main street here.
And I have noticed that they've done it also on some side streets that are close to Kenyatta Avenue. So it has made walking definitely easier.
According to Dr. Nyachieo in one of her research, in Africa, walking comprises more than 75% of daily trips. But among the more affluent, less than half choose to travel by foot. Being able to walk between places is vital, not only to get from point A to B, but also because it's a low-carbon mode of transport. This makes it better for the environment, and the more journeys taken this way, the fewer vehicles there are on the road, improving air quality and reducing congestion. The planet is not the only thing that benefits though. Walking is also a great form of exercise. Dr. Nyachieo told us more about the benefit of walking.
It is good to walk for your health, for your heart, for your muscles, for keeping fit. You know that if you don't do any exercises, and in this era where we sit most of the time, we don't do much physical activity. We have people working for us, the usual work that we can do with our hands. So when you walk, it gives you time to exercise. It's like you are killing two birds with one stone. You are walking, you are on a functional journey, and also you are getting the health benefits of walking. Like we have very many lifestyle diseases that can be managed through walking as an exercise.
Could you tell me, from your research, was any of what you had researched on, any proposals you had, was any of that implemented by the city of Nakuru?
Yes, most of what we suggested were implemented. Actually, it was very nice to work with the Nakuru City Board and its management under the leadership of the Governor Susan Kihika. There are many things that we went through. Of course, they have their own urban plans and county integrated development plans, regenerational plans, integrated spatial plans. But the contribution we had was particularly for walking and cycling. We went through and audited the infrastructure for walking and cycling, and the recommendations we made has enabled them to have continuous same level walkways and cycle tracks and linkages. This was largely lacking because you would move from one side to the other. You'd not be able to move to the other, especially for the people living with disabilities because of the curbs. Also, they have done something on protecting walkways to avoid conflict with the motorists, which we suggested. And they have incorporated this through installation of curbs in the NMT projects. They have also included NMT facilities in all roads being tarmacked and the extension to other areas within the city. Of course, we found that they had already done some bits in NMT infrastructure. But
what is NMT?
NMT is non-motorized transport. Sometimes we also call it active transport because this is where you're not using a motorized vehicle. You're using your feet, you're walking, you're using a bicycle, you're using carts that are pulled either by animals or by people and such. So this one, they had already done some projects, and especially there is this project, they had a pilot on Kenyatta Avenue to make it more walkable. And our research also found that the vulnerable road users, like those people living with disabilities, are now able to move easier in town, although there is a lot to be done. But with this project and such suggestions, and the fact that the city management embraced this research, because they actually need data, they need research to make sure to address the needs of the people that they are serving. So I think this was a good thing, and the city management embraced it, and we are sure that going forward we are still working with them, and this is going to yield better.
Are you hoping to implement suggestions or offer suggestions, proposals to other cities and towns across the country in order for them to try and promote walking and use of non-motorized transport?
Yes, of course. I would actually ask and request that in the planning in the urban plans or the transport plans or the transport policies for especially our counties, I would advise them to incorporate the non-motorized transport aspect because of its benefits for the users, that is the individual, and also for the county and the cities that we have, because it reduces congestion. Imagine a situation where most people have left their cars at home, and the city is clean and clear. I mean, there is no pollution, there is no congestion. People are freely walking and in very good environments. The problem is that when the infrastructure is not conducive or good for walking, people will not walk. So they would start by looking into the need of these people, the need of walking. The people may not really even realize that the environment is not good for them. They just don't want to walk. But when you improve the environment, they will desire to walk, because good infrastructure will attract them to walk because they know they are safe from from vehicles, because as you are aware, maybe the statistics show that pedestrians are actually the most people that are affected when we come to road safety. In Kenya, about 40% of the accidents are involving pedestrians, and this is because our infrastructures are not safe for walking. So safe and clean and conducive in many other ways, even as beauty, will attract people to walk, and that will bring benefits that have not been realized up to now, because most people do not understand the importance of walking and cycling or non-motorized transport. And I would request that they get to learn more about non-motorized transport or active transport, and even commission some researches to be done in their counties so that they know the status and they get to know the need, and then they can implement. But policy is important for all this to happen. So maybe they could start with having a policy on non-motorized transport for their counties, and then the implementation can follow.
Michael spoke with a resident of Nakuru who shares her experience of the changes brought about Dr. Nyachieo's research and implementation.
Michelle, would you say it is easier to walk now around the streets of Nakuru?
Oh, yes.
In what way?
I've noticed they have made some walkways along the Kenyatta Avenue. When they made those walkways, they have made it easier for us to walk through because before the motorists, they used to pass so fast.
For cities to justify changing their layout and investing in new walkways and cycle paths, there needs to be research and statistics to back up these decisions. These research can serve as catalysts to new policies. We go back to Dr. Nyachieo to hear more about the importance of implementing policies to enact change.
Transport policy is very important because it becomes a starting point. Because it's within this policy and the cycle of policy or policy making that even the agenda is set. Because if we don't have an agenda for non-motorized transport, then we cannot even implement it because it's not there. And even before we come to this policy issue, probably we can even go further. What are we taught in our universities? What are we taught in our institutions of learning? Is transport central? And are we taught that transport actually runs all the economies? But you realize that most people don't even have them. We don't have colleges that are specifically just dedicated to transport issues. So transport policy will be totally important to kickstart this process of implementing non-motorized transport in our cities, in our counties. And before that is done, then we do it, but it will not be systematic. It will be done It will be done in a disjointed manner, which may not be very beneficial. Piecemeal, we call them piecemeal. But a good policy that can be implemented will be a plus.
As we're standing here on your university campus, I noticed some students walking around here on some of the different pathways. But Dr. Nyachieo, what challenges, if any, have you faced in trying to get Kenyans to walk and use non-motorized transport as a healthier way of living? And this is not the administrators, but generally when you talk to people, which I know that you are involved in trying to get people to walk, what challenges do you face?
Well, I could call them socio-cultural challenges from the way I hear them bring them out. Most people don't want to walk because walking doesn't look good. It is a poor way of moving. Even those using bicycles are seen as it's not a cool thing to do. So most people argue that they can't walk because they will be dirty, they will be dusty, they'll be sweaty. And okay, some bring out the issues of where do you even walk? The roads are not good. But mostly, the people I've interacted with closely and I had to talk to them for some time. They said, why walk if I have a car? And why walk if the road is bad, it is dangerous? But mostly, there are those underlying issues or that have to do with socioeconomic status. When you are walking, you are not rich.
Okay, actually, there's a vehicle coming towards us. I'll ask us probably just to move a little bit out of the way because we're standing next to the road here on a pathway.
Yes, so socioeconomic issues also come in. Actually, it is socioeconomic status, not issues. The status, people want to remain looking like they are making it. So making it in our society from a sociological point of view and from the way people have moved from the past is having a car. Having a car is making it. You are good to go. And for example, I normally, even in my own house, I leave the car and I tell my children I'm going to the shopping center to do ABCD. They always exclaim, you without the car, you are walking, you're going to walk. I tell them, yes, this is a healthy way of doing things. But even in my own household, I have a challenge convincing them to walk because they think vehicles are the in thing. They're supposed to be in vehicles. So it's a big challenge because we need to have this attitude change for walking and cycling for actually this to happen. we should stop associating walking and cycling with poverty or with low social status in our community. And I think unless we also do that, even with the facilities, people might not walk.
Let's go back to Nakuru streets to hear from another person who has benefited from Dr. Nyachieo's step to get the city on its feet.
Kihara, is it easier now to walk or use non-motorized transport here in Nakuru city?
Yes, it's quite easier. For me, I can say I love walking because the roads right now, they're quite conversant, and basing on the cutting the costs of with the economy that we have right now, cutting the costs, it's better, and I prefer walking to using motor vehicles or public service vehicles to where I want to go.
So it's cheaper for you to walk, you say?
For me, it's cheaper and it's quite conversant because I can even take about 30 minutes from where I reside to town because of the roads. And even it's quite enjoyable, enjoying a walk, listening to music and watching how people and the streets of Nakuru operate on a normal basis.
Have there been benefits for you of walking rather than taking motorized transport?
Yes, there have been a lot of benefits. For one, I can say it's exercise itself. I get to exercise on a daily basis, like stretching the legs, and what people say is walking helps you in burning calories from the body, and it's also an exercise by itself. So for me, it's quite enjoyable, and also it helps me listen to a lot of things like podcast, stream music from different platforms. It helps me enjoy my playlist. You know, long ago I would download a playlist and say I want to listen to this song, but before I know it, I've entered a matatu or a public service vehicle and I listen to their playlist instead of listening to my playlist. So having my earphones and walking, it's exercise, and I enjoy my music, and I also enjoy my time alone thinking and also watching how people operate their different businesses and how they go about their businesses at large.
To find out how practical it is to get more people to walk, we spoke to Yvonne Musetti, an urban planner from Kisii County in Western Kenya.
Yeah, it is practical to have people use the NMT infrastructure as long as it is in place and it is safe and it is accessible. If people can use the NMT to get around the urban area and carry on their daily activities, then it shall be used. You know, actually, if all our daily activities start and end with non-motorized transport. So when I'm coming out of my house in the morning and I can see there's NMT infrastructure, I can use it as long as it is accessible and safe, and I can carry on my daily activities, whether to work, whether to shopping, whether to the bank or to school even. So as long as the infrastructure is there, people use it, yes.
What about walking? Is it practical to try and get more people to walk here in Kenya and other parts of Sub-Saharan Africa?
Yes, actually, most people do walk. Still, people do walk, although the infrastructure may not be very friendly to walking. But majority of people in Africa do walk. The only challenge is that we don't have adequate walkways and footpaths to enable people to safely walk to and from their homes as they carry on their daily activities.
Yvonne, you've mentioned some of the challenges faced in trying to get more people to walk. How do you think these challenges can be overcome?
I think these challenges can be overcome, but we need to work on them one at a time. For example, in Kenya, the World Bank is funding municipalities and urban areas to develop infrastructure through the Kenya Urban Support Program, and this is going to most municipalities in Kenya. It is categorized into various roads, walkways, and so it is integrated. When a road is being designed, it must have all these facilities, including street lighting and all that. So when you go into some of these urban areas, you find that when a road is being done, it has proper drainage, it has walkways or a footpath, and it has street lighting. All these really do help people in accepting to walk instead of driving through even short distances that they can walk. Another thing also is that most local governments may not have the capacity during the design, during the decision making, and even during the budgeting process. So if the decision makers in the local government are educated and they are sensitized about the importance of having non-motorized infrastructure, then this will surely change the way we do our roads so that we can incorporate this NMT, and it will really encourage people to use the NMT.
Collaboration between passionate researchers and policymakers is the bedrock of meaningful change. In Nakuru, Michael took a walk along the streets with the city manager, Gitao Thabanja, who spearheaded the implementation of these transformative changes.
We received a report through a research that was done by Dr. Nyachieo here in Nakuru on 15th November 2022, that is last year. And she was doing it under the Volvo Research and Educational Foundation. And she looked into how the people are walking and cycling in our city, and she gave a report. And also in this report, we had some recommendations that are very helpful in improving the way in which we are investing in the infrastructure that support the walking in the city and also the cycling. One of the main, some of the recommendations that we got is about the safety of our people. And that one, she talked about protecting the people who are walking and also protecting the people who are cycling from the vehicular. She also talked about the inclusivity, whereby our walkway and our cycling lane should be able to accommodate the disability, should also be able to incorporate the people who are using the wheelchair, and she gave some recommendations on how we can improve our infrastructure toward that. She also talked about the policy and planning going forward, how we need to plan for the city in the new infrastructure that we are having in the city. So that's we are doing, and we can, where we are studying is an example of a project that we have implemented thereafter, and we've incorporated the non-motorized transport. We have also incorporated the recommendations that were done. We have also secured the walking spaces and cycling spaces by use of bollard, so that we can be able to protect our people and our residents when they are using the roads. Yeah.
If it's okay with you, Gitao, maybe we can walk along here in the city and you can show me what you've done here. I should note right now we are walking on a pathway next to one of the roads here. And so if you were to perhaps practically show me what you've done, what have you done here in the city in terms of Dr. Nyachieo's proposals?
Okay, now, as you can see, we are walking on a NMT, that's an non-motorized, a cabro walkway we developed, and I can see across we have the cycling lane, which both the walkway and the cycling lane are protected or secured by use of the bollard, as you can see here. So even if a vehicle is using the road, it cannot interfere or maybe come and use the walkway. So that is one of the things we've done. The other thing is that as we are walking here up, you'll find the connection between the walkway from this road and the other road. There's a road that is passing here, so you'll find that connectivity, the connection of the walkway from one road to the other, so that even if somebody is using the wheelchair, they don't have to come here and wait for people to help to assist them to cross the road. They'll just cycle their wheelchairs freely without interference. So that's what we've done. Then we've also done some greening here. It's part and parcel of the walkway, so that you can make it to be more beautiful and people to enjoy the green within the city.
Okay, so now we're walking along here with Mr. Gitao. We're just crossing the road here and continuing with this pathway. One thing I should note here is that this walkway is fairly large if you compare it to walkways in other towns and cities in the country.
Yeah, the reason why we did this is because we've been having high traffic of the people who are walking. And an example is that we have around 70% of the people who walk and 30% of the people who use the motor vehicle. So what we've done, to be fair, we also as a city adopting something we call the just city. just cities whereby you are giving justice to the planning, justice to the people that are using the road. So what we've done, we've given ample spaces for the people who are walking, given that our city is a business city. So even when people are carrying their luggages, they can walk freely without congestion. So that's the reason why we have this. We have made sure that our walkway are large enough.
Okay, and we've just reached another street here. Okay, so where are we now?
Now we are at a junction between Moi Road and the government road. So that's where we are. And you can see, I want you to see something else here that was proposed. We have a tabletop here. A tabletop, this one looks like a bump. But in this bump, it is the one that we've erected. We have marked the pedestrian crossing. The reason why we have a tabletop that is raised and flashing with the walkway is to ensure that even a person with a wheelchair, they can be able to cross this road freely without also seeking for assistance. So these are the tabletop. People are calling them some bumps. They are not bumps per se, but they are also pedestrian crossings that have been raised to allow the inclusivity of the users of our walkway.
Making changes like this can seem like a huge undertaking. So what motivates Dr. Nyachieo, and how did she get to the position she's in? We're going back to her to find out what motivates her.
Research is the main passion that I have. I'm very excited about research because I know through research we solve many of these social problems that surround us. There are many and never ending, but all the time we need to know what is it and what can we do about it.
Now, Dr. Nyachieo, what motivated you to advocate for people in Kenya to walk and use non-motorized transport as a healthier way of living? I should say right now we are standing on a walkway here at the university campus, and I've seen a few people walking around here. And I should say also here at your university campus, there's a lot of walkways. It's a large open space, and we're not far away from one of the main roads here in Nairobi. So back to my question, Dr. Nyachieo. What motivated you to advocate for people to walk as a healthier way of living?
As a transport researcher, I have done a lot of research on motorized transport. But then as I got into the field of active transport or non-motorized transport, I realized that it has very many benefits health-wise, for the climate. It doesn't pollute much, and it actually saves your money, because if I can walk, then I'll have saved something. So after reading and understanding and doing some research on it, I thought it's a very good way of moving because it has so many benefits. And therefore, I actually wrote a proposal to the Volvo Volvo Education and Research Foundation. I was funded to do a project on walking and cycling in Nakuru, looking at the infrastructure. So through this research that was funded by Volvo Research and Education Foundation, we also got to understand the status of the infrastructure in Nakuru and how it was impacting on how people move. People need to move for health purposes, for saving, and also for climate, for environmental climate protection in terms of pollution. And this research has brought out a lot of things that I think people should now understand, and especially the politicians or the management of the cities need to understand that they need to support this, because it is a very good way of maintaining health and also the environment.
That's all from us at Africa Science Focus today. If you want to find out more, head to the SciDevNet website. That's www.scidev.net. Today's show was produced by Alice Hurst, with editing by me, Ogechi Ekeanyao, and reporting by Michael Kaloki. Until next time, goodbye. Africa Science Focus is produced by SciDevNet and distributed in association with your local radio station.